Today is an historic moment in the history of Alaska, in that at 2 p.m. today at the Alaska State Museum, we will be opening a time capsule that was placed in the cornerstone of this very building when it was first constructed between the years of 1929 and 1931. You might find a little history interesting, I think. After the purchase of Russian America by the U.S. in 1867, primarily due to the efforts of Secretary of State Seward, Sitka became the territorial capital. Interesting to me that Kodiak actually had been the capital of Russian America until the predecessors of our current Sitka senator stole it away, fair and square. After Sitka, the capital was moved to Juneau, where we are today. At that time, it was the biggest city in Alaska. Both Nome and Fairbanks had been larger cities at one time, but in the 1880s, Juneau was our largest city. Anchorage, Madam President, unfortunately did not even exist yet at that time, and actually some of us rural legislators still regret that, but now you are our largest city. At first, the legislature met in rented rooms here in Juneau, including the old Elks building downtown, where we met as territorial legislature. Congress then agreed to build a federal and a territorial building here in Juneau. It was to house the federal court system, also the United States Post Office, the federal agencies, and some territorial offices, including the governor, the territorial governor of Alaska. Construction was only partially funded by Congress at the time in 1911. A purchase of the land was more than they had planned, so Congress had only funded enough to buy half the block that we now occupy, and refusing to budge to buy the entire block. Sort of sounds like the federal government. But in any event, local Juneau citizens came to the fore, and they came up with the rest of the cost of the land on their own. So right from the start, the people of Juneau have put their money where their mouth is and paid the federal government so they could purchase this entire block. Construction began in September 1929, completed in February 1931, less than a year and a half in the construction process. It was dedicated on February 4th, 1931. So, Madam President, the building is now almost 90 years old. So here we are in this six-story building, a ground floor up to the fifth floor, made from brick-faced reinforced concrete. The facade is Indiana limestone on the first two floors, if you look at it from the outside. The portico has 4 columns made from Tokeen marble from Prince of Wales Island, which is also used throughout the building. In the trim, you'll see it everywhere in the building. The cost at the time was a remarkable $1 million, Madam President. We are one of the 12 capitals in the United States that do not have a dome. The original cornerstone was removed in 2013. Very interesting to those of us who remember it, who were here before it was removed. We still have it. It's in our possession. It's in storage right now. It listed those who were most responsible for this building, including Mellon, A.W. Mellon, the Secretary of Treasury, James Wetmore, the architect, and George Parks, who was the territorial governor of Alaska. It was dated 1929. The cornerstone itself is 3 feet by 2 feet by 1 foot. There's a copper time capsule in that cornerstone, and that time capsule will be open at the State Museum today with a very careful inventory of its contents. Who knows what we'll find, Madam President? It may just be a mass of water-soaked paper. It may be a look back into our historic past, or it may be, who knows, Madam President? It's a mystery of what's in there. But we'll let you know. It's very exciting to historians, this eventual finding out what was placed there over almost 90 years ago. The plans are eventually put the cornerstone on a display outside near on the 4th Street near the Bell. The building we are now in housed the federal government, and until statehood, in 1959, it was turned over to us, to the legislature. There was extensive restoration in 1980 under the direction of the legislature. The 5th floor Finance Committee rooms were refurbished. That had been where the federal courtrooms were. It was refurbished in the style of the early years, and certainly also the speaker's chamber, the speaker's conference room was refurbished as well. And all three are really great historic rooms. I hope you've noticed the stenciling in the ceiling of the speaker's chamber. It's really amazing. And also, just so you know, there's a carved marble, piece of marble above the door that says Senate Chambers, just in case we want to take it back at some time. In 2012, the state began a 4-year, $33 million project for seismic upgrades. Pretty amazing, from $1 million to purchase it or to build it, to $33 million for repairs. These included more seismic upgrades, new windows, and much improved heating system. This is a beautiful historic building, Madam President. We are fortunate to work in it, and all Alaskans should be very proud of this building. Thank you.